All right, everybody, thank you very much for joining us here today. This is going to be another one of our group coaching calls. This one's going to be a little bit different because actually this is the first time that I've actually had another guest on the call. It's just not going to be all of me talking the whole time. And I am very fortunate to have one of my favorite clients, Paula Gooding, and her husband, Alec Carlin, who is not going to be with us on the call. So I just have Paula here with me now. Hello, Paula.
Hi, Charlie.
How are you?
Good.
And Paula is from Seattle, and I am from New England.
Oh, say no more.
I won't say any more.
I know where you're going.
I'm not going to go there. Not going to go there. I like you people out in Seattle too much. That was a great game. That was an amazing game. So, all right. Well, let me just first get started. A little bit of housekeeping before I get into the good stuff with Paula. Let me just first by saying I sent out the monthly listing of all the things that are going to be taking place, all the blog posts. Got a little change already. If you see here, February 19th, I've already crossed out the topic for preparing for the Sharks because my wife was going to be doing that call. She's actually being called away to Nashville, Tennessee for a couple of different reasons. One of which is to go down there and manage one of our properties down there in Tennessee. Our property manager has given their notice, so we got to get down there and solve that particular problem. So we're changing the topic for the 19th. Don't worry, it's going to be another great topic. I guarantee it. So that's going to be changing. The other thing that I wanted to talk to you about, as I always do, I always put in this disclaimer that I am an attorney, but I'm not your attorney. And if you must always seek competent counsel in the jurisdiction that you're looking to do business in, and mostly, all I do is I provide consulting services. I act like an attorney. I'll speak like an attorney. I'll advise you like an attorney, but technically and legally, I am not your attorney. So you cannot look at my information as sound legal advice. So now that we have that out of the way, Paula, thank you so much for being put on the hot seat here when I get the chance to quiz you. And why don't I give a little bit of background here? And everybody, this is open. This is live right now on the beginning of February. And if you have any questions, you can either type it in the box or raise your hand on the box on the side. Raise your hand, and I will unmute you, and you'll be able to speak directly to Paula and ask her your question directly. So as we go through the conversation, I'll be checking the question box, or if anybody has any questions, that's where you want to get noticed for it. So, Paula, how did we meet?
We met at a RIA, our local RIA. You were there doing a workshop. Isn't that right?
Yeah, but did I meet you? I was out there in Seattle twice. I did 2 speaking gigs out there. Were you at both of them, or did you?
Yeah, so we saw you, and then we signed up for the whole program.
Okay, all right.
And then you came back.
All right. Now, give us some background as to what you and Alec are doing, like full-time basis. How'd you get into this business? What brought you to that RIA?
I had been, once I had kids, so they were like 3 and 5, I was staying at home, and I had, just prior to that, I had worked on a apartment building project with a nonprofit group here. So when I stopped working, I thought, what am I going to do? And a friend of mine took me to an area near Seattle and was looking at a house, and I thought, wow. So I decided to buy several houses, and that's where it started. So I ended up I just kept buying houses, and we had like 10, I think.
Okay.
And some of them I really remodeled and flipped, and others I've kept. And then Alec was like, "This is ridiculous. We need to consolidate." So he was the push to move into multifamily.
Okay. All right. So how did it go on the single family side?
Well, I liked it. I mean, now I'm looking at it from the other end, but at the time I liked it, and I thought it's easy. This is good, no problems. But now that I'm in the multifamily, I see it a lot different.
Okay, what do you mean by that?
It's much easier to have a multifamily.
Okay. I got to tell you, you took the path that is like the perfect client for me. It's the people that start off on the single family side and then want to start moving up to the multifamily side. They understand real estate. They know that it's work. They know that it's a job, but they know that there's a different way to do it.
Yeah, well, I wasn't so sure about it, but boy, oh boy, it's way easier.
Okay, all right, we'll get into that a little bit more because I want to find out exactly what you mean. But now, when you came to me, you and Alec kind of had a problem in a tax problem, so to speak, where you had the 1031 exchange breathing down your neck, and so tell us about that.
Yeah, so Alec pushed me to sell a property that we had that had increased in value a lot, and so we got that sold, and then ended up with this 1031. So where we had 3 months or 4 months to find a piece of property, and it was about a year ago. So it was through the October, November, December, and
the thing is, you contacted me, and whoops, I'm sorry, you had contacted me, and
we're like, what are we going to do with this money? We got to do something.
Right. So at the time, let me kind of take you down memory lane a little bit here, because I want everybody to understand. I was getting, kind of the panic phone calls from you, saying, "Hey, we got to do something." So we want to put in offers on all these properties. What should our offers be? And so give us, see if you can remember some of the backstory with some of these properties. I've pulled up about, 4 or 5 different offering memorandums for some of the properties that you sent me. And what happened to these deals, if you can remember? Like this one right here. This is a beautiful property. Do you remember this one?
Yeah, that one was pretty legally entangled, and I think it was one of those that was going to be a condo conversion.
Oh, right.
And they were pretty, sophisticated people. I mean, I think for us it looked like, wow, we can't do this. And I can't remember, we just follow your little program, and it didn't come out well in the analysis, is my memory.
Well, the numbers didn't work.
The numbers didn't work, and I thought the guys were a little slimy. I just too snaky for me. I didn't understand it well enough. And
yeah, because it was a lot. It wasn't a clean, simple multifamily. Like you said, there were condos. You see right here, 60 total. 25 units have been sold as condos, with 35 units remaining as apartments. So you weren't buying the whole place. You were buying a majority, but you weren't buying the whole place.
Right, and we still had responsibility. It was complicated.
Yeah, this is a fractured condo.
Yeah, that didn't work.
Yeah, I agree. That was a tough one. Now, how about this one? I didn't like this one.
Oh, I love this one.
Oh, you did?
I did like this one. This is the one I'd hoped to come through. And the reality was that the woman that owned it, she wanted too much for it, and we made an offer, and I think she wanted out if she could get whatever she wanted, but
yeah, but it was way too pricey. And the thing is that Seattle, especially within Seattle, it's a pretty hot market.
Oh, it's unbelievable. It's happened just in a year.
Yeah.
I think, you really encouraged us to look out, around Seattle, outside of Seattle, and we thought we'd go somewhere else in the country. And
oh, I know.
So I think that was probably pretty good advice now that I know what I know. And so we were down to December, really. And this is the one I wanted, but it was clearly the numbers weren't working well. And we were working with a pretty good broker. We have a pretty good one. And
now, what did you like about this one? Why did you want this one? I mean, it's built in 41. I don't know where Everett is. Is Everett just like a suburb of Seattle, or is it outside of Seattle, or?
It's outside of Seattle, and it's kind of having a big rejuvenation. And it doesn't look so good in this picture, but it's a very solid building. The units were great sizes. They had retail that was definitely not being used well. There was a lot of room for improvement that I could see. And I think this woman that owned it knew it too. And she just threw it out there. If she could get what she wanted, then it was worth selling. But she knew it was worth, what it was
She
worth.
was looking for a California investor who would just give her what she
Yeah,
wanted.
she was looking for somebody to do
Yeah.
it.
All right, next one.
But it was nice.
Check. Now this one I kind of like. This one was interesting. Do you remember this one with the pods?
Yeah.
You guys went out there and looked at this one, didn't you? Let's see if I can find.
Yeah, but it had a lot of deferred
that's
maintenance.
right.
Those pictures looked better than it
Yep.
was. And to me, it looked like a whole bunch of single houses. And I think by that point I'd realized how it would be nice to have one envelope.
Okay. Instead of having what do we have there? 8 different roofs, and then all the roofs for the parking.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah.
And the owners were not willing to move on that price at all. So I think that was the other.
You ever find out any of the stories, like whatever happened to these properties? Like, did they sell at that price, or do these guys?
I don't know what happened to Castle Heights. I mean, I know the one in Everett. She still owns
she
it.
does.
In fact, I think she's put it back out on the market again and with the same price.
Oh yeah, good luck to her.
But the prices in Seattle, just in the last year have gone up, up, up.
All right, now there's one there. We're coming up on the winner in a moment, but there was one that I wanted to. Okay. Now, do you remember this one?
Kinda.
Yeah, I don't think you knew much.
Do you?
Yeah, I do. Alec was pushing this one. Alec, this one.
Oh, this is an Oklahoma.
Yes, exactly. And you want to know what? I think there's someone on this call who actually was going to, take a run at this property after you. And it was one of those deals where I'm like, geez, where have I seen this property before? And it was the exact same property, same broker, same story, same, like you gotta, Bethany, Oklahoma. That's it. It was Bethany, Oklahoma. And, yeah.
Hey, we looked that up on Apartment Review. I mean, the people's comments was enough to make me.
Oh,
mad.
yeah. And you're going to be buying
But it was
that.
a cat, it was a good, looked like a cash.
Yeah, no,
I think the management of that would have been almost pretty difficult for us to do from
but
here.
it would have become your full-time job. It would have become your full-time job.
Yeah, I think I'd been down there a lot.
Yeah.
I think I would have been down there a lot, and how can we get it?
No, you don't want to. Yeah, this one, I was so glad.
We did look at another one in Oklahoma, which I did like. Yeah, well, there was another one in Oklahoma I liked, but the women wouldn't move on the price. But then right after that, they had those huge tornadoes, and I'm like, oh, thank God.
What was that one?
never
Was that a
liked
woman that I think she lived on the property,
Yeah.
and she had like 4 to 8 units for storage?
Empty. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, I remember that one. That was a nice, and the thing about that one was it was a smaller, apartment complex within a bigger apartment complex, all built the same time, same builder, same everything. It looks exactly the same, but she only owned like 60 of the 300 units. Was that how it worked?
Right. I mean, there was, yeah.
Yeah, so.
Yeah, there was something like that. I mean, it was a whole apartment all around it. We would have gone for that, I think, if she had agreed to it, but
Yeah, that one,
probably in retrospect.
that one, yeah, I'll tell you, you're much better off with what you did end up with, just from a location standpoint. And here it is. Here's the winner of the prize. This is what won the beauty prize right here. Now, a little overview. It's a 21-unit property, so it's smaller than all the other ones we just looked at. But it's in Burien, Washington. What's that place like?
It is great.
Really?
It is. It's one of these little suburbs around Seattle where most people gravitate east and north. This is south, and people just haven't really discovered it. But it has a really nice little freeway that shoots into Seattle, so you can be there in less than 10 minutes. It's never crowded. They've incorporated recently, so they have a new city council, and it's a nice mix of incomes in the area. They have high income on the water, middle income, and then low income.
And who lives in your place?
Well, so this one was, you could tell it was well built when you see the whole area. But right across the street is a Value Village, which is like a Goodwill or something, and an Azteca. So I was kind of a little worried. But in the end, that has been a great thing to have that across the street. And most of the people are working, lower income, hardworking people, all had good credit. Everybody that we inherited was, had passed their credit. So I haven't had any problems with that in a year.
Oh, good.
Uh,
Good. All right. So
I would say with that, but the units were really run down. They have really original everything in most of them. Lots of deferred maintenance on the exterior, because behind this building is walkways and doors, and you can't really see it from here.
I'm just looking at this.
Old windows, lots of mold problems.
Oh, wow. And did you pick this up on the due diligence?
Yeah, we knew it. We knew it was a window problem, so we just budgeted for windows.
Right. So, and you budgeted about $24,000 for windows, I think. And,
right.
And is that done?
Yeah.
Okay. Excellent.
So I had a little plan going into it, and I've sort of just followed it. And all the rents were some were at $700, some were at $725, some were at $745, and we knew that early on that it looked like the market rate was about $800 to $850, and over this last year that has definitely become a very strong price point.
And you're able to get
plus actually up to $900
now. Oh, really?
For one bedrooms, and these are big one bedrooms.
Oh, that's fantastic.
So my plan. Yeah, so my plans was to, over the summer, not to make a huge amount of shifts. Everybody was very worried. I just moved everybody's rent to $750, which they were all okay with. And then did all the exterior work, so all the doors, everything got painted, new windows, new carpet outside, new laundry rooms. We found that the laundry rooms were a big problem, so we fixed those and put our own machines in them.
Oh, you're not using a...
better.
You're not using a
yes, that's much.
You're not using a CoinMock or Jets for your.
No, we don't have that here. There's none of that. Give a big premium contract. No.
So you got to go down and empty the quarters every month.
Yeah, but it's great, and they're much happier. A lot of them were not using the CoinOp. They didn't like the facilities. So now I have everybody back and making 3 times the amount of money that they were.
Okay, so let's back up a little bit and walk through the process of how you got this deal under contract. If you're working through a broker, Westlake Associates, you've got up there.
No, it wasn't them, but they were the ones listed.
Okay, you've got an asking price of 1.65. And when you went through to do your numbers, what was your initial offer at?
1.4 something.
Okay. And so how'd the negotiations go?
Well, this happened to be a group that owned it, and they owned 3 or 4 other units or buildings in the area. And one of the partners, or 2 out of the 3 partners, wanted to move on to other things, and so they sold off the first 2. I think that went well for all 3 of them. They actually owned a couple others too, but one of the partners was really did not want to sell this one, and he was really dragging his feet, and so it became harder to negotiate because I think he knew that it was worth what it was going to be worth in the long run, and he wanted to keep it. So luckily it was the middle of the winter. I think winter is a great time to buy. It was the end of the year. They needed to get this thing done, and I think they made a deal with him that they would sell another building to him at a discount. It was something going on with this partnership, so that had to be taken care of. And then we went through and we deducted. We said, you've got too much deferred maintenance outside. We want we want money off for the windows and money off for the fans. Because of the mold and moisture problem, we wanted these whisper fans that we put in, and so they agreed to part of that. So I think we ended up at 1.56 or something like that.
Okay, so about $100,000 off the asking price, maybe about was that about 7%? 7%. So, okay, you finally negotiated 7% below the asking price. Your initial offer was about 200, maybe about 10, almost 13% off the asking price. So, one of the things I see new investors saying when they're trying to make offers, oh, it's nowhere near the asking price. And of course, everybody knows my big joke is the biggest lie in multifamily is the asking price. Who cares what that you're 13% off some made up number? You have to do what works for you. And so even at the 1.56, the numbers still worked well for you at the current rents, correct?
Right. And I remember you saying, well, if you really think you can get 800, Paula, that'll be a good deal.
And you think you're getting 900
now. I will. Yeah.
A year later, you're now getting 900.
So we had 3 turnovers at the end of in January, at the end of December, and 2 of those were in okay shape, not great, but somebody had done some work on them. So we put those out at $850, and they rented immediately. And then we had one that had a hoarder in it, and we really had to do a lot of work in that one. He'd been there 18 years or something. So we redid that one as sort of how we will do all of them as things come up. And that one went for 900, and no problem. I mean, within days.
Well, I'm just trying.
So we believe we can go probably, yeah, we're 875 and to 900 probably now.
And you figure it's, they were saying the current cap is about 6. So just oh, wait a minute here. If we took $150 times 12 times, wait a minute, 150 times 12 months times 21 units equals that divided by 0.06. Geez, if you went up by about $150 per unit per month on this property at a 6 cap, your property has increased in value by about over $600,000.
Oh yeah, easy.
That's
easy.
Great.
Easy.
That's fantastic. How many single-family homes do you have to do?
What's happening in Seattle now, though, is that owners are, one, holding on to their properties because of this rising rent, and 2, they are only selling at what they believe you could get for them if you buy it, not what they're currently getting, and they are selling them at that. So it's kind of a tough market.
It is. Yeah, people are coming in, and so you can't buy in Seattle. You got to start looking on the outskirts of Seattle.
No, and even on the outskirts, it's like this.
Isn't that wild?
So,
and when I was out there in Seattle, do you remember that guy? I think his name was Mark, and he was an architect. And he said in the meeting that within the next 12, 4 quarters, there will be 14,000 new apartment units coming online in Seattle.
I was there when he said that, and that has been no problem because of Amazon. And they've got another 12,000 coming on, and there's a shortage.
Oh my gosh,
housing's a problem out here.
Isn't that wild? That's fantastic.
I think it's all Amazon.
Okay, so you get the deal under contract, you go through the purchase and sale deal. How much money did you need in order to close this deal with the bank?
We actually brought in a partner, and we each put in $250.
$250. So
or $220.
You had one other partner,
like that.
and what's their responsibility? What's their role? Are they totally silent? Are they kind of there with you, or how is that working out?
He is totally silent. He was, nervous, and he wanted to know things, and he had no experience with this, so he questioned things that I thought were ridiculous, but when you don't really know anything, I guess it's normal.
Right.
And we have paid him out at 6 months. He got some money out, and at the end of the next 6 months. So we're paying him every 6 months. And
okay.
Yeah, I think he's pretty happy.
Well, what's the deal? What did you offer him?
He gets so after everything is, he gets half of what is available in the bank.
Right.
I mean, it's pretty simple. It's just that. So after we do all of the who owes what and all of that with your accountant.
Oh, good.
Jeff. So we see what the surplus is, and we split it in half. So I think he got $10,000 after 6 months.
Geez, that's 20,000.
There was $20,000.
That's a 10% return. It's just under a 10% return on a $250,000.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's not bad, and we're not even talking about the $600,000 that he, you know, the $300,000 increase in his share of the equity.
Yeah.
It's
yeah. He's pretty happy.
yeah. Wow.
Yeah.
So what's your plan for this? Are you just going to refinance it, pull money out, you let it, you know, just roll?
Well, I think that we're going to, you know, just keep making those improvements to get those rents up and, you know, wait till the market changes and then look at pulling it out.
Okay. But you're still going to still stay in the Seattle area.
Hey, I'll look at anything.
Yeah. You hear that, everybody? Paula Gooding, she'll look at anything.
Yeah, if anybody has anything, I'm open. I would say that one thing about the 20 unit, you can't really hire an apartment manager.
Right.
And we don't have an on-site person, and that's been fine.
Because you're in the area.
Yeah, and I make a point to be there 2 half days a week, and I do things around there so people see me, and that's worked out well.
You know, let's talk good, the bad, and the ugly. Let's talk ugly. What's been the worst part of your experience so far?
The worst?
Yeah, like what, you know, were there some tenants that just did things that you were shocked with, like maybe the hoarder, or was there, you know, just it's taking up more time than you thought it would be? You know, what's it like owning a 21-unit apartment building?
Well, I would say I've just been really pleasantly surprised.
Oh,
it's just a whole lot. It's easy. You know, I can just schedule maintenance. I schedule, you know, it's all in one building. I get 21 households.
Yeah.
And the hoarder was pretty amazing, but you know, because I've had other renters, that wasn't very. You know, I'm just like, oh, okay.
I've experienced the hoarders before too. Tell me what your reaction was like when you saw it.
Oh my God! Oh my God!
Yeah.
I mean, oh my God! I mean, it was like wow. And he left in the middle of the night, and he just left me a phone message and said, "It's all yours."
Yeah. Isn't that wild? I mean, the thing.
It took us a week. It took us a week to get it emptied. And that's where Value Village across the street was a great deal because they took everything.
Wow.
And we had no dump charges.
Oh, that's interesting.
It's a great, yeah, I was worried about that, but now I'm really happy about it.
You know, I had two hoarders living right next door to each other. A big apartment complex. Only two hoarders in the place. They just happened to live right across the hall from each other. They didn't know each other. You know, no connection whatsoever. It just happened by pure happenstance that they lived across the street from each other. And as soon as I walked in and was aghast at what I looked at, they both had the exact same reaction. They both said, "Oh, I'm getting ready to move." Like,
oh yeah,
yeah. I was like, oh really? You are? Oh yeah, that's why it looks this way. I'm getting ready to move. Like, yeah, okay, sure they were. So,
well, so the other thing that I did is I made them all start. We have recycling, and I was able to cut the garbage bill in half, which was a big saving.
How'd you do that?
Yeah, by
doing the recycling,
making a much smaller dumpster and a lot of recycling, and I made them all sign contracts, and I went through with them exactly what recycling meant, because we have like 4 or 5 different cultures, and they all have different ways of looking at garbage, and that's been a huge saving.
Wow, that's great.
Yeah,
I didn't think of that.
And if they had about 3 months to get used to it, and then now if I find something in there, they're fined $10.
Oh my God. Wait.
And they don't do it anymore. So it's pretty good.
Jeez, I think I heard about you on the news the other day. Isn't that what the whole city of Seattle is doing?
Yeah.
Yeah, they are, aren't they?
Yeah. So we found a lot of ways that, you know, we've used the city. We got rebates on the windows. We got rebates on the exterior lighting. We put in, the other thing we did was we got rebates on, we replaced all the toilets immediately. So when we bought it, we went in and we did things that looked like improvements and that would make the current tenants' lives a little nicer.
But at the same time, make you money.
Right, and they liked that. They appreciated it because I wasn't raising their rents. I mean, they kept waiting, and I'm like, no, we're just going to do these things to make things a little nicer for you. So I was sort of grooming them in this direction.
Oh, wow.
Basically.
Good for you.
And so we have toilets that are 1-gallon toilets, where the old 89s were like, what, 6, 7, 8 gallons?
Yeah.
We pay a third in water bill.
Wow. This is all, and all I did, okay, so in my calculation that I just gave you where I said your valuation went up by $600,000, I was just looking at the income side. I wasn't even, calculating out the change in the NOI by the reduction in the expenses. So you're at $600,000
Yeah.
is probably even bigger.
I think it is.
Oh, man, I tell you, Paul, that is fantastic. I had no idea the property was doing this well. That's great. Good for you guys.
Yeah.
Now, let me ask you
Yeah.
this.
So I don't know.
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
For me, there's not been anything ugly. I mean, and I think it's partly just because I had experience and nothing,
Yep.
and I just knew how to sort of organize it.
And I tell you,
The challenge now is that I am raising rents again, and I'm just taking a third at a time because I don't want to have all these units empty
Exactly.
at once. So I'm kind of working, trying to play with that one a little bit right now.
good thinking. And as I say, you can own 1,000 apartment units in 6 years if you start off with a 20 unit. And every year you just double the amount of units you own. And within 6 years, you will own 1,000 apartment units. Do the math, but not right now.
Well, I'll have to work on that. Is that another?
That's your homework.
Alec would like to hear that.
Yeah, and that's all you got to do is just keep doubling what you're doing. Okay, so what's?
I like the 1 units too, and I know that I like the 1 units.
1 bedrooms, really?
Yeah, 1 bedroom.
Isn't that interesting though? Because typically you look at those as being high turnover.
Nope.
Hasn't happened.
I think there's a lot of single people out there that and they're not so hard on them.
Yeah.
It's easy. I wouldn't have. I would have looked at 2 bedrooms, thought 2 bedrooms, but yeah, I like the 1 bedroom.
Yeah. Now,
so I wouldn't shy away from that.
let's talk about the bank. How did it work out with the bank? Did you go through a broker? Did you go to a bank that you had experience with already?
So our broker had a guy, and this brokerage is really good at this stuff, and he just took it over and walked us right through it, and we just had to provide papers, and we didn't have any trouble financing it. I don't know, if it's still the same today, because it seems like.
No, I think this one was a pretty clean deal. I mean, you guys had the down payment, you had good credit, you had experience, it was a good sized property, it was in your backyard, everything just worked out nicely for this. This one just happened.
Yeah, so that's all I knew is that there didn't seem to be a big problem.
Yeah. Now, what's your next step? What are you doing next? Since buying your first building, have other deals been dropped in your lap, or have you just been kind of waiting to get this one on proper footing?
No, but I've talked to the guy that we work with, and I said, hey, we're open, and he just says there's nothing.
Interesting.
He says it's very difficult out there right now, and so that's pretty much. I mean, I'm ready to go. I mean, I feel like this is under control, and I can move on to another one at this point. So yeah, I guess we're open to that. Well,
do you want to give your email address for people on the call if they want to get in touch with you if they have a deal?
Yeah.
All right.
Paula Gooding at yahoo.com.
That's Paula Gooding at yahoo.com. So, yeah, and that's a beautiful thing about this business is, you never know who you can partner with, who you can do deals with, or who you can ultimately sell this property to someday and move on to the next one. So, man, that's great, Paula. I asked you to be on the call, and I hadn't spoken to you in a while. I didn't even know what was going on with this property, but that's great that this thing has done well for you. Yeah, no, and I'm really happy to move in this direction, and couldn't have done it without your analysis, your property analysis program. I appreciate that. Yeah, as a matter of fact, let me see if I still have that picture. Yeah, here it is right here. Here's your, this is what you were using right there off the cash flow analyzer for this property. Let me see if I can, oh yeah. Let's see if 25%, you put 25% down, which is very good. You're buying it the right way. 1.33 debt coverage ratio, which is pretty low. But what we figured was that because of how strong the Seattle market was, that is that was a market rate debt coverage ratio, and the fact that it was 21 units meant that you'd have to lose it would be easier to fill up any losses as opposed to having a 150 unit complex with a 1.33 debt coverage ratio. Been a lot harder to manage that type of a property. So that wasn't that bad. Now look at, some people may look at this and think, oh man, that cash on cash return, that's not very strong. Folks, it's not a double-digit cash-on-cash return because you're not going to get a double-digit cash-on-cash return deal in Seattle. What you're going to get is growing rents that are going to drive up the value of the property, and you're going to get the money at the end when you go to sell the property. I mean, you can't tell me that knowing now what you know about Paula's deal and how well it's running today, that you wouldn't have done this deal back when she did if it only had a 5.62 cash-on-cash return. I mean, that's just crazy. It's not even, it's so much more than that right now. If anything, that your cash investor is going to get all of his money back in a couple of years, and he's still going to own the property. It's going to be an infinity return. So
yep, I think he does that.
Yeah, it's just, you can't just be stuck on these formulas of, oh, it has to be a 20% cash-on-cash return or 20% IRR. You got to know what's going on in the marketplace and what's going to make sense. So, yeah, that's great. I mean, look at some of these, what you had originally projected.
Yeah, I don't think on the West Coast you can do, it's just not happening. But you are getting an appreciation.
Yep, yep. So, well, congratulations, Paula. That's fantastic. Let me see if any questions. If anybody has any questions for Paula, just type them in the box, or if anybody has their hands up and they want to ask a question. Let me find where my question box is. Hold on. So he's jumping around. Okay. You've got her email address. Let me check to see if anybody has their hands up. Nobody has their hands up right now. But you've got her email address. If you want to speak to her directly, please feel free. I think this is one of the benefits to the way we do business here is that we're all friends, and we all are trying to do the same thing and get into this business the right way. And I
think it's a formula. I mean, I think tenants are a formula. I think there's no.
There's no emotion. It's a formula. Absolutely, it's all numbers. It's a numbers game.
Yeah.
And once you get in this property, you're like, oh, I love it, I have to own it. Oh my gosh, run for the hills. Don't do that deal. If it doesn't match the numbers in the formula, just don't do it. So.
Yep, I agree.
All right, well, go ahead.
Thanks a lot. Appreciate it.
Yeah, this is fun. I'm glad we could get together. Please say hi to Alec for me. Hopefully he's out there making money.
Definitely. I better get back to it.
Exactly. So, all right, Paula, thanks so much for your time. And everybody, we're going to bring it in for a landing here. Next call is going to be in 2 weeks. If anybody, obviously we're changing the topic. We're going to postpone next week's topic, 2 weeks from now, that topic for next month. If anybody has a topic they want me to cover, just shoot me an email and I'll put it on the list and see if we can get it done next week, because right now next week is wide open. But otherwise, this call has been recorded. It will be up on the membership site momentarily, and you can catch it there. And otherwise, you know how to get a hold of me, and I'm here to help. If anybody needs any assistance in doing any of these deals, I just got a call from one of my former clients. They need me to go down there and help on a court case of theirs, so I'm here to help out any way I possibly can. So, Paula, thank you so much for your time, and everybody, we will talk again in a couple of weeks.
Good luck, everyone.
Thanks, Paula. Bye-bye.
Bye.